Boy Don here, back again with another awesome Swift tutorial. So today we'll be taking a look at loading indicators, and these loading indicators are super important in terms of user experience because they let the user know that there's a process going on in the background and that they should wait. Now good loading indicators will keep the user entertained for at least a couple seconds, and the default loading indicator given by Apple, which are called activity indicators, are pretty boring. So I have for you here a loading indicator that integrates the game Pong. So if you see, like, we can play Pong right here, which is pretty awesome. It's pretty easy to integrate if we use Cocoapods, so I'm going to show you guys how to do that right now. So I'm going to open up Xcode, and we're going to create a new project here. Let's try this side. We're going to create a single view application. I'm going to call mine loading Pong indicator. We're going to save it to our desktop. Cool, let that do its thing. Awesome. And so now we're going to integrate Cocoapods. So if you guys remember, we're going to create a pod file, which I'll do right now, by right-clicking the main project, clicking New File, scroll all the way down to Empty. We're going to call it pod file, and make sure you guys spell it exactly like that, capital P. Next, finish. And now we're going to type target, the name of our project in single quotes. I called mine loading Pong indicator. Do. We're going to use frameworks, use_frameworks, exclamation mark. And now we're going to type in the pod we need today, which is called JDGamesLoading, which I will link down below for you guys. So JDGamesLoading, close that off, and then type N. We're going to command save to make sure our changes are saved, and then open up terminal. We're going to navigate into the project directory. So here I went to desktop and I called mine loading Pong indicator. Cool. And you see that nice little pod file right there. Makes you know you're doing everything right. And then we just type in pod install. So everything goes right. We should see a nice little confirmation message, and this says please close any Xcode sessions and use loading.exe workspace instead. So let's do that. So I'm going to exit out of this, or let's see. Yeah, I don't need this, so I can exit out of that. I am going to open up my loading Pong indicator.exe workspace. So that nice little file that you just created for me. I'm going to open that up. Okay, and you'll see that it's mostly the same. They have created this little pods folder for us. We're just going to open up loading Pong indicator, and for now we're going to just create a button manually to show the loading indicator. In a real life scenario, you would call the loading indicator whenever it needs to be called. So whenever you're refreshing data or pulling from a database or contacting a server. But in this case, just for example purposes, we're going to drag on a button. I'll make it a bit bigger and call it show loading indicator. Oops. Cool. I'm going to use the assistant editor today to actually create an IB action method. So let's go here. Boom. Connection is going to be action. Name, let's say loading pressed. Type any, and then make sure it's touch up inside. Click connect. Cool. Creates a nice little function for us. Any minute. There we go. Cool. So we have that. And now, whenever that loading button is pressed, we want to show the indicator. So to do that, first we need to import the pod we just integrated. So that's going to be called JDGamesLoading. So the auto pop-up might not show up just because it's refreshing. Don't worry about it. I'm going to try manually building that, see if it still gives me an error. Which it will actually, now that I think of it. So JDGamesLoading is a bit outdated, so we have to make a couple changes. So let's just click these errors. They mostly have to do with the Objective-C selectors. So that's really just syntax, so don't worry too much about it. We're just going to say fix right here. And basically what it's going to do is add this @objc to the methods that are needed. So we're just going to click fix. Let's do this thing. Make sure we unlock it so we can actually make changes to the file. So then we're going to navigate into this file, which has a couple errors. So yeah, you guys should have like 5 errors in total. So just click fix on all of them and the problem should go away. Fix. Fix. Cool. I'm going to try building this again. Let's do its thing. Cool, build succeeded, so we know we're good to go. We're going to switch back to iPhone 7, go back to the view controller, and you should see that this is now integrated. Awesome. So now to actually show the loading indicator, it's just one code, guys. In the loading press method, we're just going to type JDGamesLoading, should pop up now. We're going to pass the parameter game, which is, we're going to say .pingpong. So actually this framework actually has a bunch of different games. Feel free to experiment. We're going to use ping pong for now. .pingpong, and then we're going to say .show. And as you guys guessed, if we do want to hide it, we're going to say .hide. But for now, let's run this and see that it works. Put my simulator up here. Cool, so we click show loading indicator, and then we got a great game of Pong up. So your users can stay entertained while you're doing your thing. So there you have it, guys. That's another great pod for you. I hope you guys utilize this in your own applications, and I will see you in the next video.